Hello, I'm Miranda Kahn. Time now to take a look at headlines from around the globe. Get ready to take a trip into the future. The Chinese state news agency just released this map. It shows plans for the modern version of China's ancient Silk Road. The road will run from Shanghai all the way to Germany. It extends more than 8,000 miles. The Chinese will build high-speed railways, roads, highways, and fiber optic cable networks along this route. They partner with about 58 different countries. The U.S. is not among them. No one is immune from the massive summer heat wave that's just hit India. Not even these zoo animals. Workers are hosing them down every few hours to try and keep them cool. Meanwhile, more than 1,400 people have died from the heat. Temperatures have reached 117 degrees. Iraqi military forces battle it out with ISIS for an oil refinery. You can see the smoke rising from the refinery right here. Officials say ISIS militants set it on fire. Iran is also contributing to the fight, supplying Iraqi forces with more troops and weapons. Meanwhile, the FIFA scandal continues to unfold. Its president, Sepp Blatter, has been asked to resign, but according to a former FIFA presidential candidate, he's refused. Blatter has stayed mostly out of sight, skipping out on a recent medical conference. Now many countries are voicing support for a new leader.
That includes UEFA, which is the European organization which oversees football in Europe, or soccer here in the United States. We just talked about FIFA's president, Sepp Blatter. He was about the only high-ranking official from the organization not to be arrested. Some say this is exactly what you'd expect from someone in power. Plausible deniability. I believe that was in the New York Times today. But again, this probe launched by the Justice Department, a little bit surprising.
Surprising, but I think it's been a long time coming. You know, he's been FIFA's president now for about 17 years, but Rick Horrow, the CEO of Horrow Sports Ventures, tells Hardline's Ed Berliner it might not be too long before Blatter is finally nailed. Let's listen in.
They've had 2 years to work on guilty plea information that's been provided by people who have pled guilty as early as 2013 and operated probably in a witness protection program under a sealed indictment. And so they've got the goods. The question is the standard. Remember, this is a U.S. court, even though this is international organizations, and you're innocent until proven guilty, even for the head of a FIFA organization that people assume has some questionable dealings attached to it.
All right, couple of minutes that I have left here. Why the United States? Why is it that our DOJ is the one that goes after them and gets this indictment?
The DOJ spent the resources to coordinate one of the largest investigations in global history we're going to find. You could have indicted in any number of places. The U.S. courts decided, and the DOJ said, meetings were held here, TV contracts were held here, television networks pay money here, transactions are done here. So there's no question about jurisdiction. It's only a question about committing the resources to get this done. And frankly, we all understand that Bill Clinton was sitting in Singapore when Qatar won the 2022 bid, when everybody expected it to go to the United States. This is not sour grapes, but as I've said earlier, you're disappointing 5 or 6 groups that could have thought they would have had the World Cup. So you better be fair and you better be right.
Well, one of the things that struck me by this is, you know, this has investigation a long time in the works here, but to see Loretta Lynch, the new Attorney General, out in front of this issue with everything else that the DOJ has going on, was that part to me, and I'm going to wait until more of the information.
Are you criticizing her for doing it?
No, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying it's kind of, I was surprised that this rose to her top priorities, where she felt like she needed to attend this particular news conference. An interesting move, and I'm going to wait until more of the details come out in the coming days.
Do you think it's a political move on her part?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here and say that this is a big deal, and you know, we're taking a look at American-owned sports apparel companies. Nike's been implicated in this. There's been a lot of implications. So obviously, there's a lot of roots underneath the ground that are spread a very have spread over a very large area. That's what I'm going to
Most people have been very positive about what she's done.
In this particular case.
Yeah, I think it makes her
I'm
look
not
good.
criticizing her. I'm just surprised. You know, you look at Ferguson, you look at Baltimore, you look at everything else she's been involved in, and where Eric Holder was, and then here now.
But
FIFA
exactly,
is under
people
the
were
spotlight.
criticizing though Holder, and
Right.
we're worried that she may be another Holder. So I think it's a good move on her part.
Yeah, we mentioned Blatter. He's got a lot of pushback now, and we also mentioned UEFA. They're now backing this new FIFA leader, the guy who could be the next president, named Prince Ali.
Yeah, but Blatter does have at least one other supporter. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has publicly stated he's for Blatter. And he's blaming this whole corruption scandal, not only that, but he's blaming this whole corruption scandal on U.S. meddling. Putin says, quote, "This is yet another blatant attempt by the U.S. to extend its jurisdiction to other states, and FIFA would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling U.S. officials." That's at least according to Putin.
Good move on Putin's part. His public approval ratings always go up when he blasts the U.S. and says they're meddling in the World Cup. A lot of folks in Russia very excited about the next World Cup in 2018. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. Still more to come on Newsmax Now.